Hey guys, this is Rustin, coming at you with another update. Today is April 8th, 2026. I did two additional test flights between then and my previous model. Oh, I just have to move this because the screen recording thing is in the way. I added two different things. Let's go with this. First of all, I noticed I was getting some errors in the reconstruction of the other model, and it was specifically like around these like corner elements of like the roof. So my thought was to let the drone go a little bit higher. So instead of my 140, I'm going with 160 or 165 feet AGL. It was a little bit, the sun angle wasn't the best for this. It was like around, I think 330, probably when I was flying this. But this is a little bit of a higher angle. You can still see all of our control points are still reasonably marked. Trying to see if I can see it from here. Yeah, he's still there. He's faint, but you can pick it up in the software. I can still see them in person, so they're pretty easy to stick out. I mean, like, look, see, that one's faded, but you can still see this from like what, 2, 3 weeks ago when I originally flew and marked them. That's kind of crazy. But hey, what's nice is that at least four of them I marked in a convenient spot. Now, this one, I probably have no idea. It's probably somewhere in here. Hopefully, we can find it in the software. But I just wanted to say I flew around with this. The other thing I did too was a bit of manual flight. I put the camera at just as many different perspectives as I could to kind of capture any sort of this missing data that I might have had. Again, this corner was giving me lots of trouble. It was reconstructing wrong, maybe too much noise. I talked with Dr. Randall Cohn about it. He said it's kind of similar to like those like anti-facial recognition grayscale things. Basically, you can introduce noise into here so that it doesn't, mess up on the boundary layer, which makes sense because it was right where this sort of boundary meets here virtually and where this boundary meets virtually. So I'm hoping with this new and improved quote unquote data set that we can have that. I've also changed a couple of the settings in processing to uh, sorry, to tweak the sensitivity to things in here. And these pictures are all shot in 48 megapixel. I want to let that known. So everything else I've done so far has been in 12 megapixel, but these ones are in 48 just because they're more careful, more manual. And you can see in this one too, I'm trying to get the steam stacks slash chimneys, the exhaust fans, better rendered because they were kind of really messed up. You can see my little drone shadow right there. Isn't that cute? So I did this sort of manual pan around. Well, I actually I selected it like sort of like this, and then it locked onto here, and then I did a slow pan, just taking some pictures. Same thing with this one. Um, and then I also introduced some vertical shots just so that we could get more data in here. You can actually see how much these are pretty good like quality pictures. I'm not even gonna lie. Like look at that. We're getting a lot of detail out of these. So I'm hoping that the full reconstruction will go a lot better. And I try to get this under canopy data here too. Um, or under building data here too, but that was kind of tricky. I'm not too much worried about these like undersides, but it's worth a shot to just try it. So we're gonna try that, see what happens. But I'm combining these two with the prior data set. So these two new ones are getting put um, with this original prior data set we have here. Now you might notice this also neat little thing called 360 outside. Um, Basically, I have yet to process these, as you can tell, or introduce this. This is going to be a little play around thing probably the next week before my presentation. Hopefully, something cool happens. But I walked around with the camera rig, and this is the mid camera. So this is from the middle perspective. There was a top and bottom one you can see. But I walked around the whole outside of the building on the nice sunny day. So hopefully that goes well. Hey, look at that. There's a marker right there, and that pretty helpful. But I basically walked around with this. That was great. Um, Where's a little cameo from PJ and Darius? PJ and Darius. Shout out PJ and Darius. Anyway, um, but yeah, I sort of walked around the building. You can tell that this thing's kind of heavy, and I did not enjoy this. This sucked. But yeah, I walked around, got that all nice and done, and I went right back on top of this original marker and called it good. So I have all those perspectives. I'm going to process them and introduce those into the model later. I want to get the main drone crap done before I introduce any of this, which I feel like this would just cause noise problems, and it's a whole nother learning curve. So we're not going to do this today in this video. Um, These are all the original flight paths. These were the ones that I flew. Sorry, these were the ones that I flew on the 26th, and you can see the one I literally just created today. That's the one that was that 165 feet. So let's go back to reality scan. So I'm currently realigning control points. This is the new one. This is a new project entirely. So this point cloud is going to look is what it is. It is completely different than the one that I had in the prior video because I've introduced more data and I just figured it was smarter to start from scratch. So I'm currently geo-referencing our control points. You can see I already did the first one by the Sammy statue. Now I'm currently lining everything up with the second one, which is like outside the mathematics wing. I still have yet to do the third. Fourth one outside the planetarium, the fifth one by the like maintenance entrance. So I was just going to follow through a little bit with this. I thought it'd be kind of neat, nice and neat. One thing I noticed, by the way, setting your view to top, so helpful so that it doesn't think you're like clipping through the model. Anyway, so if we go back to here, let me go back to realigning this. So where's the picture? Yep. So you can see it's pretty honestly these are pretty darn good. I'm slightly tweaking these and you can see what like in space. Actually this might be kind of helpful for you guys to see. But if I turn it to perspective, you can see what I'm talking about, how in space these little dots are all the camera perspectives, give or take. Um so we can see how it's referencing. This is where the original control point was, and we're anchoring it to something that is projected. So that's what this residual is here. But these lines here are the like projection perspective. So you can see it's referencing, and that's why I hate this view. Um, it's referencing all these different camera perspectives we have in the sky. It's just really cool tech. I love this. I love this crap. Um, but yeah, so we can see all that. If I turn on the yeah, looking great. Anyway, but yeah, we can we can see how it's referencing all those different perspectives, whole 9 yards, looking great. So I'm gonna keep lining these up. I'm not gonna speed up the video, but what I will do was I'm gonna skip ahead until I do all these, or maybe I'll just pause it, let you watch me do 3, 4, and 5. So I'll get to that. All right, I just knocked out two. Cool little trick, pushing F3 on the keyboard. Let me be helpful if I move over. Clicking on the control point and then pushing F3 on the keyboard activates the control point mode. Very helpful. You can see what I'm talking about, how it's referencing all these pictures. So what we're doing right now is this control point is unmatched to a surface. It's just existing in its own space. So what I've got to do is sort of drop a point on this point cloud, this sparse point cloud, to anchor it. So the fun part is going to be finding where our marker is. I'm 90% sure it's probably right about here. There it is. Yeah, you see it. Somebody had a bike there today. Oh, that's gonna suck. I don't know which picture this is pulling from. I'm gonna go to the lower quality tile just so that we can. I'm gonna adjust it too once I drop it. Yeah. So we're gonna push F3 to deselect the dropping. So now we can see what it's referencing. Yeah, it's referencing the pink pretty well, but I'm gonna manually adjust all these just because they had that one picture in there. And then I might toss out that picture. I don't know which picture it is in where the bike shadow is. Again, this is the problem, 2 different times a day, whole deal, blah 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 blah. But we're gonna get like probably 6 of these anchored. This is great. We're getting these oblique perspectives of it too, which is kind of what I want. I want to make sure these are all nice. You can see the number of image suggestions keeps going up in perpetuity as I add more of these because it starts going, oh wait, this must be this point in space. It does that whole little math trickery jargon. So, do a couple more of these from here. See what this guy looks like. That's a nice. See, like this stuff. Like we gotta top that out. I don't like that. I don't like it with that shadow. So what I did was ban it. Did you see? I pushed that X which bans them, which doesn't allow them to use that in the anchoring process because I don't want it anchoring to like you know what I'm saying? Like it's got this bike in it, which is just ruined it. It ruined it. But we should be okay though. We've got plenty of points. so I'm not too worried. But yeah, see, it's anchoring to the bike. I don't want the bike. Oh, see, like it's so close to. Like it's like almost works. That makes me sad. I'm angry. You can also see which guess which one I flew prior is this data set. Guess which one I flew today was the one that I was tossing out. So I'm tossing out some of the newer data. That's okay because I'm really just getting it for the building. I'm not getting it for these ground samples out here. So these are good. I'm going to move on to 4. Come on. There we go. 4 is online. So this is great. Boom. So got 4 dropped. Can start lining these guys up. This is the most boring part. I'm just going to skip this so that you guys won't. And I did 4. So we're going to do 5. Just drop 5 here. You can also see that this van pulled up when I was in the middle of flying on the first day. That was quite fun. But luckily this little tuber didn't get hidden. So I'm very glad, very grateful for that. So 5 is dropped. I'm going to align these and we'll come back. Just thought I'd unpause this real quick to show you. This is uh, without the shadow on the one day before the vans came. This is, let me find one that has a van. Yeah, the van's in here, right? We can see, but you can see with the shadow angles here. But I was just doing this one. You can see the different sun angle really does play a role. But luckily, the software is able to kind of get a guesstimate and just you kind of tie these together. Hopefully, this one's got it so you can see. I haven't touched this one, so yeah, honestly, that's pretty accurate. Like I'd call that good. So now we've got all these reasonably anchored. Let's move on to realigning to help reduce these errors. We can see these errors in the pair. I'm going to just toggle these off, and so you can see these are the errors in all of these um, control points. So I'm going to go by the one by one view again real quick and go back to perspective. So these errors are talking about from the reference plane, right? This grid system here is the reference plane based on the ground control points, but the point cloud was built above it because the point cloud was built before I added these control points. So these are the residuals between the expected or the actual location and where I'm sorry, I should say the expected location, and this is the actual location in reference to the point cloud and how I'm tethering them all. So what's really got to happen is to improve all of this and sort of kind of clean this up and really scale it, which is kind of what we want. I've got to end up um, realigning the images. I could sit there and hit update. I could do that if I wanted to update it. This would just sort of correct everything, and that's what's currently running right now. Um, yeah, see, great. Like, apparently I can't screen record and do 2 things at once. But now that I've updated it, yeah, look at that. Boom. You can already see how rescaled everything just got. Um, and all the camera positions are kind of a little bit whack. But see, that's why I don't like update. This is why update is might not be the move. You can see how the arrows just got kind of shot to Kahoo. So what I'm going to do is go back. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go back and I'm going to realign the images and let it reprocess for about, another 40, 50 minutes, however long it took last time. And it should be anchored and scaled correctly. So let's do that. Just wanted to say it's still processing. I know it says only 8:32. That's because it processed for like 2 minutes and then crashed my computer. So yay. Hopefully this is gonna go well. I am currently working on the presentation. By the way, sneak peek for those who actually watch this. But yeah, hopefully this gets done. Okay, so it processed. I'm going to change it to perspective. So we can now see our new scaled model. This is looking a lot bit better, just visually. We haven't even made the dense point cloud or anything. This is just a realigned, rescaled. Just looking at our errors and our poses, they're actually a lot better. We can get these down again using, I forget which tool. Um, we can update it and then do a QA, and then we can sit there and draft, and then just keep, blah, 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 blah. But I think reasonably for like a meter or so, it should be okay. Besides, I'm going to do another advanced, or not advanced, but another processing parameter that should correct it. What is a little bit interesting though is that we can see the tree, or some of the trees are here, but some of them are flattened. Um, Not really sure why, maybe just perspective angles, but we can see we're getting some detail out of here, some detail around the side of the building. So honestly, this is looking very promising for a turnout. I'm going to let this run and turn itself into a low poly model. I might clip the reconstruction region a little bit, but we'll see how that turns out. So this is the new anchored model. We're going to see how these errors look. So yeah, I'm going to let this process and see what we get. So I just wanted to let you guys know this. I'm clipping the region to be this. I think that'll get rid of a lot of our random data gaps. So that should be fine. Also, did you guys know you can change the color? It's kind of cool. I like the green. Honestly, I might be using this green look. Just wanted to show you. This is currently processing in the higher detail. So this model will be made, and then we're gonna have to texturize it and simplify it and whole 9 yards. But I'm gonna let it go, and then I'm probably gonna compress it to maybe 5 million triangles. I'm gonna see what we're working with when this comes out, and then I'll compress it and smooth it just a little. Then we'll texture it, and yeah. So this guy's still going. This time keeps exponentially getting larger. I've just been watching it as I've been making the presentation. I feel like the digital Sammy. I think it's cute. But yeah, I'll see you guys whenever I unpause it again. This thing is still going. Oh my god. Okay, guys. So it just got done. It is 11:05. I don't even remember what time it started. Probably took an hour. Um, we can see this is what the model looks like. This is looking pretty darn good, all things considered. This should turn out pretty nice if I let her go and process. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. These little guys are all the trees that are kind of getting ghosted. You can see that. Planetarium looks great, actually. This is the dense point cloud. Um, the model is just so solid that if I see how it changed it back to the dense point cloud. It's a good model, trust me. Let's see actually how many things we've got. We got 100 and basically 161 million triangles. Yeah, that's quite large. So we're going to reduce that. I'm going to tweak this and let this process. So I will try to get a model that is more visible and not in this dense point cloud. So yeah, hopefully, I'll see you when I get that done. All right, because this stupid UI is getting in my way and I cannot move it, I cannot click the filter selection button right here. I'm gonna have to end the video, but all I'm doing is cleaning up this model. Hopefully the next video will be this texturized. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and it's always great seeing and chatting with you guys. Take care.